Paul George, before he went down and missed 3 games, was absolutely playing like a league MVP, averaging about 28, shooting mid-40s from the field, nearly 40% from three-point range, being an absolute stud and superstar in this league. Over the last 2 games, what has he shot? Like 15 of 48 from the field since he's been back, like 5 of 23 from three-point range. He's averaging about 27.5, but nevertheless, the shooting percentage is not that impressive. That's not Paul George. It won't last. And the only reason we're talking about the Oklahoma City Thunder being the threat in the Western Conference that they are is Paul George. Everything else, the roller coaster that Oklahoma City is with Russell Westbrook, that has always been the case. But Paul George is the difference maker, and I think he's the key to their success.
We have the same analysis, completely different conclusions. Look, the most important ingredient in a championship team is still a dominant two-way wing, right? Like you look at who wins the championship. It was KD, LeBron. Before that, you say, well, the Warriors didn't have KD. No, but who won MVP of the finals? Iguodala. Before that, Spurs, Kawhi. Before that, LeBron and Wade. Dominant two-way wings are really the way to go. But once you have that guy, Paul George, whether he hits the shot or doesn't hit the shot, he is going to be playing that way on both sides of the floor. He's a problem on offense. He can play without the ball. He doesn't slow down the offense or anything like that. He can get out in transition. He can play defense. He can do all those things. And you have him now. Good for them, just as they once had KD. The key to the success of the team is Westbrook. I've been saying if Westbrook can just hit those shots, so it is shot selection. Sometimes he's reckless with it. And if he can hit those shots, he's shooting really poorly this year from 3. If he was just shooting what he did a couple years ago, 34%, I might take him to win the whole thing. But he's not. So what else can he do? I really think with Westbrook, it comes down to this. And this is why he's my favorite player. He never cheats the fans or his teammates at all. He goes 100% all the time. I love him. But because of that, I think he has a tendency, when the going gets tough, to not trust his teammates enough. And it's not even that he's looking down at them or anything. He just seems to me to feel that responsibility of having to shoulder the load and shoulder more of it and more of it and more of it. And in so doing, a lot of times the team gets less effective as the game goes on. I think Westbrook is the key. I think he's got to loosen up the reins a little bit. And if he can do that, and hit some of those shots, sky's the limit for the Oklahoma City Thunder. I think he's the key.
You know what's fascinating? You're right, Max. You two, Stephen A. and Max, you're looking at this the exact same way and coming at it with different conclusions. Essentially, what you're asking is, who is the one you can count on? Who is the constant, right? Who's going to be here while the other guy, the difference maker, goes like this? I feel like... Well, but Stephen A., I actually think I agree with you in the end. I think we know what OKC is with Russ. He'll vary, but we know where he takes them. It's Paul George that makes the difference. Max, you're seeing George as the granted, as the giving, and Russ as the variable.
Well, no, the reason for that is Paul George is not the primary ball handler. Russell Westbrook is. So he really is the one making decisions about the offense. But you know what I call KD the ultimate complementary piece? So even Stephen A., when you put him on your all-time team that you wanted to function as a team, and I would say, hey, Larry Bird or someone like that, but I understand the reason for KD. He does everything. KD does everything, but he's a complementary piece. It's not a knock against him. It's the nature of his make the right basketball play mentality. Paul George is largely the same thing. Russell Westbrook is the decision maker. In this NBA, that kind of two-guard and a one-guard's body who's the do-everything man and making it go, that guy, Steph Curry on the Warriors, is the key to that team. Damian Lillard, obviously, in Portland, and Russell Westbrook in OKC. Because he's the decision maker with the ball in his hands, he's the one who it's incumbent upon when the going gets tough, when it gets thick out there, for him to not try to pull even harder, but to relax a little bit. And I think if he can do that, and that's the key to the Thunder, the sky is the limit.
Well, listen, what I'm saying to you is this. Where I have a problem with your position on this subject is because many, many times over the course of our 2.5 years together, you've talked about this is who Russell Westbrook is. it's not going to change. So if we say that's who he is and that's who he's proven himself to be, a superstar but a mercurial one at best, the bottom line is this: we know who he is and what he's going to be. So what is the element, the ingredients that's going to elevate the Oklahoma City Thunder to another level? You have young athletes who are greyhounds, they're thoroughbreds rather. They'll run up and down the court. They can finish at the basket. Some of them, guys like Ferguson, can hit perimeter shots. Steven Adams is one of the toughest big men in the game of basketball. But the key to their success, why they were thriving so much, was the greatness being put on display by Paul George. So much so that we've literally sat here and questioned why Magic Johnson and Rob Pelinka didn't appear to make more of a strident effort in getting him to L.A. That's the kind of impact he has.
Right.
And if that's the reality, that's why I say he's the key.
I understand, but saying that Westbrook can't change his stripes, I agree with that. I'm talking about on the margins. You know, we saw LeBron James, who is, you know, I say MJ and Magic had a baby. It was LeBron James, right? And he just passed MJ in career scoring. But it's not because he's primarily a scorer. It's because he's so great he can't help himself. He's going to score. LeBron James' soul is that of a point guard, really. I mean, LeBron is the best thing he does is pass the ball. And he had to learn when he got to Miami. No, I know Wade's there and there's an issue. Who's going to take the last shot and that stuff? You got to be the dude. It took him a while to get there. You lament the fact that he had to learn that over the course of his career. David Price, we had on the show yesterday, choked under pressure until he didn't. And what I'm saying about Westbrook is not suddenly he'll wake up as another guy, but maybe he has learned on the margins to trust his teammates in the moments of truth.
Stop right there. What you just said. Stop right there. Russell Westbrook, when Paul George was rolling this year, I've never seen Russell Westbrook relent or defer to someone more, even Kevin Durant. He basically gave Paul George the ball and said, hey, take us there. And that's what Paul George is doing because he loves Paul George.
The irony of Westbrook this year. The irony of Westbrook this year is he's having his worst shooting year and playing his best overall game in many respects